be one of the best intros, man. I'm telling you what, you're the intro.
Hey, what do you think? We just keep the brand Bodine 52 in the middle of the whole thing? Would that be disruptive, do you think?
Get that shit off.
Oh, come on. Well, every 10 minutes, we're going to be posting that up just so it flickers, so it gets in people's heads, right? You should check out Bodine 52. So happy Sunday. What is today? Today's the 10th. Welcome to Fireside Chat with the Boys on Sunday night. Determined Veteran is our guest. Wave to everybody.
Woo!
We're super excited to have you. Finally, we worked it out. So we appreciate you coming on. And Colin, props to you that worked all day today, but you look fresh as hell. So
that's what happens after you drink 4 or 5 beers.
Dude, did you do that at work?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
Thought that was allowed.
Wow.
That's his job, beer taster.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that.
You are the boss. You should be able to do what you want, right?
So do whatever I want.
So, Colin, who do we got with us tonight? I see a bunch of friends.
Hey, welcome everybody. So, looking through the side comments here, we got Flip and the Blue Mule, Bob Nelson, Mr. Augusta Masters himself, Bry the Biker. How you doing, Bry? And I believe, Bry, correct me if I'm wrong in this, I think you have a live stream coming up at 8 o'clock. You can pop that in there. Let's see. Blue Bike Girl, how are you tonight? We also have the Grim Rider. Toby, how's everybody? Toby Northern, Chuck Hansen. We got a good crowd with us tonight, guys. I appreciate everybody as always. Worth Anderson, Ron Kelly, Donna Main. I got that right. I know I spelled your name right there. I sounded your name right. It took us only a couple years. HDAV Traveler, Daniel S. We got a lot of good people in here, so appreciate it as always that you guys joining us. This is every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Well, not every Sunday, but
every other
Sunday. So,
and then
Jackie Boy, Paul, welcome everybody, and Marine Rider. Thanks for stopping by tonight, guys.
Hey, do we have Donna Main's name right? Donna,
I hope so, because we've been calling him. It took us a while. We were calling him Donna, and that's obviously not right. So, Donna, please pop in there and say we're right.
We call him that so much he probably thinks it's his name. So, Donna Main, if you could let us know, man, we appreciate that. We feel like we're all friends. We know each other for so long that we should be able to figure that out. But welcome, everybody. Did everybody get out and ride today? How about you, DV? I'm going to call you DV if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Most people on YouTube refer to me as DV anyway.
Okay.
In the group, I guess it makes it easier.
All right. Did you get out and ride today by any chance?
No, I didn't, man. I actually was sleeting here earlier in the morning, and then I had a subscriber who left his motorcycle at the house, a buddy of mine too. We did a baseball game the other night for Veterans Night, and so he come pick up the bike, and then I was trying to do some installs, and I've got some shop lights I'm going to reinstalling tomorrow. So no, I didn't. I'm jealous of all you guys.
I didn't ride either, if it makes you feel better.
By the way, Ty, we were just talking about that in the green room while we were having cocktails and shrimp about how great Jack's camera looks tonight. So
it's got my beautiful complexion.
Yeah, Jack,
look, you can see I didn't shave today. Look.
Neither did I, dude. It's really bad.
That's bad.
It's really bad. Colin, you did not ride. Did you ride to work? Because that'd be the only way you rode today.
I did not ride to work. And you'll laugh at this because these guys, I didn't tell them yet. My wife's actually shopping right now, and it's our anniversary. So nice. I'm like, listen, do you want to go to dinner? And they're like, well, I got the show at 6, so priorities, right? So maybe we'll go to dinner. So we're actually at 23 years today.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Bob, I think you're at 50, and Jack, you're at 52, right? Something like that.
No, I'm at actually 18.
Wow.
I'm a newlywed.
Wow. Well, ADV, just to give you a little bit of glimpse on why we talk about the shopping thing is we all went on vacation together with our wives.
Okay.
And during one of the rides, the three of us are connected on Senna. The three ladies are connected on the Senna. One of the wives, Mrs. Bronco ride, but I don't want to tell you who it is, really wanted, did you roll your eyes at me, dude? Really wanted to stop to get some candles at a mall. And we were kind of trying to talk everybody out of it. Jack, remember that when we were sitting in the dealership? I'm like, dude, I got it.
Well, yeah. And Bob, I told him he was a master. He talked her out of it, right?
It was like running for president, dude, man. I'm like, I got it. We are not stopping for candles.
No.
What did we do?
Colin walks in and goes, we're taking her for candles because she'll never leave me alone. And it's like, oh, well, we're done. Bob had her talked out of it. Like they were going shopping the next day and we figured they can buy candles.
The funniest part of it though was when we pulled in, they went into the mall and we were sitting in one of those, those center islands that has like grass and a tree in it. We're sitting on the curb looking at each other going, we are the weakest dudes I've ever met. And this is embarrassing. So we tell that story every time we talk about shopping. By the way, a Mary Kay order showed up to my house today, Colin, that I'm assuming my wife ordered from your wife. And
it's definitely not from me.
So. And there's a couple $100 bill that said we need to talk about that. But Jack, how about you? Did you get out today? I know you got new shocks. Your video this morning was awesome, dude.
Hey, thanks, man. Thank you. And no, I didn't get out today at all. I had to make what was called a glass run. My wife found that you can recycle glass. So now we keep every bit of glass in the house, and you got to make a run about once a month. I came home, and it was one of those days where it's like 40 degrees, kind of chilly outside. You're like, well, I could go. I could put the heated gear on. You're like, oh. Then I knew that, we had the show coming up, and I wanted to be kind of fresh for the show, so I didn't want to go out there and get wore out. So no riding today.
I thought glassing is like before you go deer hunting. You go out and you're looking through binoculars to find out where everything's at.
No, so this is a
you threw me
glass run.
You threw me off when you said you were going glassing today. I just kind of like, dude, it's not season. Just so we're saying. So
yeah.
I don't know about you guys. I might piss off some environmentalists or people from California, but I just don't recycle. I just never have. I don't know if you guys do. I struggle with that. I just
now she
bag and I throw it away.
Nope.
Try to get off topic here and piss people off. Let's see anybody from California.
She recycles all the plastic bags also. They all go back to Walmart, and then they refold them. And then when you go in self-checkout, you reuse those.
DV is like, how in the hell did I get on this stream?
How did I get
motorcycles? All right, we're talking motorcycles.
I just showed up. I was told to be here.
Dude, they're talking about recycling and shit.
And going candle shopping. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? We all have our niches on YouTube. Apparently, y'all's is shopping and recycling glass.
Recycling.
And not recycling. So I am a proponent for the environment because I've shit on it enough in my lifetime. So my wife we have management where the garbage goes and the recycling. And so
Colin basically doesn't give a shit about our earth, so don't worry about it.
You know what? But I've learned because I've been divorced before to listen to my old lady. So
I got
we're together about 10 years. So she tells me to do something 9 times out of 10. I do it because she has to listen to me curse when I'm trying to figure out something in the garage and screaming to the top of my lungs like a maniac. So yeah, like about an hour.
DV, I know you also go by that formal name of Jack, but normally DV. So we appreciate coming on, but we want to start with you, man. Tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about your channel, and your elevator speech, man.
Clickbait works. No, So I had a career in the Army. So I was medically retired 18 and a half years. I spent about a year in Wounded Warrior getting patched back up. Rode my motorcycle for a couple of years, decided to pick up the camera, do YouTube. I've done everything from car builds, twin turbos, anything performance, motorcycles. I learned how to do thumbnails about last year. I took a creator course and it really started paying off. All the money I make on YouTube, I donate back to nonprofit veteran organizations. Have been for 3 years. Every year we give back. So my goal is to do $10,000 to charity. This year's been pretty good. I can't complain. I had an opportunity to make a bunch of videos with brand new motorcycles and play with them every day. And so that's what I do. Like even my merch page, determinedveterangear.com, 100% of the profits go to nonprofit veteran organizations, the 22kill.com, a Soldier's Child, and a Soldier's Angel. So YouTube is kind of my main thing. So I don't work outside of anything else. So it's kind of my therapy. My wife owns the business. She manages all the finances. I make the videos. We've had the opportunity to work with a couple of companies, throughout the years, for the twin turbo Mustang, the Project Vader, the 131 performance beast we're making now. I see some people out in the audience, that watch my channel as well. So it's cool to see the cross pollination, and I appreciate it. Like you offered this to me, I think a month and a half ago, and I had my family situation, my son deployed, so It was kind of hard to fit it back in the schedule. So now, being on the program, I really do appreciate the opportunity to work with other channels and grow the brand of Determined Veteran.
Yeah, that's great, man. I think
Good.
for all of us, thank you for your service, and
Absolutely.
definitely appreciate that. And
Great.
it's interesting. I know Jack does the same thing with his merchandise, kind of gives that back. And there's one thing to talk about that. There's another thing to doing it, right? So appreciate you doing that. And how long you been out now?
So I retired in December of 2016.
Okay.
And so my wife's still in. So that's why we moved to Allentown. So I retired. I'm from Texas and got a chance to, join the Army in Texas, recruit in Texas when I was an Army recruiter, and then retire at Fort Sam. So very blessed to have those opportunities. But my wife's from the Northeast. So she had an opportunity to take over a recruiting station up here in Allentown. And I told her to take it for her career. And that's why we moved up here.
Hey, by the way, you're getting some pub here on the skull behind your head.
Oh, cool.
And then Toby thinks you should be drinking that wine, but I'm just thinking that's a bad wife thing to do too, right? So
yeah, this is all for my wife, man. So we bought this house, we moved in January of 21. I did a complete remodel of the whole house. I've got some videos on the website. But this is kind of like where I do my talking head pieces. I kind of want to make it a little bit cooler, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I get that. That's for sure. So that again, welcome. We'll one of the things, and I think we started this last couple of weeks, guys. We've really been trying to get a little bit away from questions and really just kind of talk about topics, right? About what's going on out there about bikes, and that's what we're gonna continue to do. So DV, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Colin and then Jack, and answer some questions and feedback from the group. So, boy, I'll tell you what. When I started putting the questions together, this came from somebody that follows my YouTube channel, and I was doing a bunch of stuff to the bike, and he was pissed, right? He was nicely, dude, what are you doing? Those bars are fine, right, dude? And we kind of talked through it, and it was just one of the. But people think differently, man. There's some old school guys. There's some people that go, I'm going to keep it stock. It's expensive. Some people can't afford to do stuff at times, right? I don't know if you're not from Michigan. In Michigan, they have a car insurance scam, in my opinion, and the state had to pay us all back. So they paid us all back a bunch of money, and I'm like, I'm just going to upgrade parts on the bike, right? But people get passionate sometimes about stock versus upgrading your bike. So DV, what are your thoughts on that?
Man, I have voided a ton of warranties on my channel, man. I've done 9-second drag car builds, freaking twin turbo, quad digit vehicles. Now on Vader, we went the Screaming Eagle route, right? And like the other day we put out we put out a couple of videos over the build series, right? And what I wanted to do was I wanted to make relatable content to the average brother or sister out in the audience, right? Mm-hmm. Could I build a monstrosity of a T-Man 130 performance, 150 wheel, 160 torque? Yeah, of course. But I'm a rider at the end of the day. And that's the thing. Like people didn't, because I've kept my life from YouTube and my personal life separate. A lot of people didn't even know I rode. But I sold bikes back in the day to fund all these crazy builds in my YouTube channel. Huh. So when I wanted to do bike content, I just said, look, I'm gonna stick with OEM stuff and try it out. And then toward the end of the year, we'll probably void Vader's warranty, because I had a 17 and I went through 3 oil pump assemblies and 40,000 miles on that bike.
Wow.
And that was back when you could have an aftermarket tuner like a stage 1 and a stage 2. So I had power vision back then. But now with the EPA standards, I actually did a video about it last year about the RPM Act. Everything has gone to very Loctite. So even Harley, their Pro Tuner doesn't work on the 21 and up. So I'm all about aftermarket. There's quality aftermarket, Zipper, SNS. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't make enough off YouTube. And like I said earlier, most of the money I make, we donate back anyway. We just try to cover our cost of everything.
Yeah.
So I'm either way, but it just depends on it depends on your budget, right?
Yeah.
So straight up, would we all love to have a high-powered motorcycle? I guess. I mean, I'm a performance junkie, so like I love building things and making them go fast, and going 9 seconds down the drag strip. Like that's my release, But to a lot of people out in the audience, they just want a reliable bike. Like most people that's probably watching all of our shows ride baggers, right?
Yeah.
And very rarely do you see a bagger, in the high horsepower. Usually it's like a screaming, like stage 3 is usually where most touring guys go. So, anyway, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, what's that?
Well, yeah, Colin, what are your thoughts?
Well, I've put a couple upgrades on mine. I mean, let's just put it this way. I mean, stock is perfectly fine. I mean, I have a 2017 Street Glide Special, and while I did put a stage 3 on it, and I'm happy as hell with it because I enjoy that. Could I have rode with stock? This was now when the 217 or on the 2017, I had a 107. So when I did the stage 3, it basically turned it into a 114 with the displacement and everything. But I mean, I agree with what you said. It's all personal preference first. I mean, everybody's going to be different. I don't think there's anything wrong with stock. I don't think these bikes that are coming out are like pieces of crap and you have to upgrade them, right, with the exception of like seats and shocks. But for the most part, I mean, right? Let's be honest. Yeah. I mean, but I could have kept a lot of stock, but I like trying to fit it to my style. And that's what's great about these bikes is they're customizable and what you want to add to it. I know I've done the stage 3, I've done the seats, I've done the bars. You shouldn't have to do all that, but because I did that, I'm enjoying my bike more, right? Yeah, right. So it's my decision on what I want to do. So, I mean, it's a total personal preference, and I totally agree. It's the budget, too, what you want to put into it, because we all could drop a shitload of money on our bikes, right? We could always add more power. We could always add, more things to it.
You drop a shitload of money on the bike when you buy the sumbitch, too.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. But I'm happy with the upgrades I did. Yeah. I don't think there's one upgrade that I could say that was a mistake. I look at it as, I think I've said this on previous shows. If I were to do it again, if I were to do my number one, like upgrades first would be probably shocks and seat and then bars, like in that order versus like going towards the motor side of it. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that. Whereas I did it the opposite. I started with like a stage 3 and then I did the other things later. My biggest upgrade that I felt, and I'm tying into YouTube because I know you guys recently upgraded your shocks. That was my best upgrade I did, was putting shocks on the bike by far, and then seat, then bars.
Yeah. HDR, how about you, man? I know you're doing a lot of stuff right now. Right?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of stuff to make it more comfortable, I think, is the big thing with me. People out there talk about handlebars, and I've had my bike for what now? It's an 18, so 3-4 years. And during the 3rd year is when I decided finally to, break down, spend some money on it and buy the handlebars for it. And it was an amazing upgrade. I mean, it was like night and day over the control and the handling of the bike. And then the shocks. My last bike I had a stage 1 done on it, but it was a 96 cubic inch. So we needed the extra power on that. But then you step up and you buy a 107, you find out it's more engine than you'll ever need. So I'm with Colin as far as with the new shocks on there now. Taking the Tour pack off, it made the bike 65 pounds lighter. And that's an awesome upgrade because now you can, it just feels like it's a totally different motorcycle, like a Road Glide Special or a Road Glide or whatever. But, and I'm looking now like at the stereo upgrade. I'm not going to do the new boom box from Harley because I think it's way overpriced. So I found another one I'll be replacing mine with, and I think it's going to be an amazing upgrade. But yeah, and most times, guys, it's funny when you go to a rally or you go to a meetup or you meet your buddies, and it seems like on motorcycles, everybody's trying to one up everybody. What do you got? Stage 2. Then you go back next week. It's like, well, you got, I got a stage 3. Then you go back. It's like, I got a stage 4. And, you can't one up. I always tell Bob, we have this conversation all the time, you got to build it so it's comfortable for you, not what everybody else thinks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's kind of my take on it.
Jack, you and I have talked about that. I put a little question out there about 2 different bars because I'm upgrading my bars, right? It's these or these. Give me.
Yeah.
I've never gotten as much feedback from people in my life. People are like, "Dude, those look stupid. Why you wouldn't go with those?" And at the end of the day, it's funny. And I mentioned this on a video. I was like, I was talking to Colin. I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. And he's like, will you stop? Just go buy some effing bars, right? So it kind of shocked me out of it, right? And then I just looked at both sets of bars and I go, dude, I like those better, right? So I ordered those and they came today. And my wife goes, I got home from a ride and she goes, hey, a box came for you today. I go, good. She goes, what's Factory 47? I'm like, that's factory stuff for the bike. Don't worry about that. We're all right. So, all right, moving on. I think the 3 of us guys were kind of talking about this, and I know DV, you and I were talking about it before as we were getting going here, is that sometimes as creators we go out and whether we have a mental block or not. I did a video on a lot of times if I'm being straight and admit it, when I go out and ride, I'm always thinking about I should be doing a video instead of riding and enjoying the ride. So that's what I did today, and it was fantastic. And we all ride for different reasons, right? We ride for, tons of different reasons. What's yours?
To feel alive again. Like, honestly, to put everything, every bad memory, every firefight, every loss of a brother just behind me. Like, when I ride, I ride. If you've seen any of my videos, I'm not the average Harley Davidson rider, which I know isn't a very good example for like the kids growing up. But to me, if I don't feel like I'm a little bit nervous, then I don't feel like I'm there. Like when I'm with my old lady, I ride normally, but by myself, I don't know. I know it's not healthy. I've talked to my head shrink at the VA about it a few times.
Yeah.
That's the honest to God truth. I've been doing it for 25 years and I love it.
Does YouTube ever get
fast too, so
does YouTube ever get in your way? If you be honest.
Yeah, because okay, last month I did 160,000 views on YouTube. And so because I want to give back to these charities, I always feel like this pressure's on me, right? Or a company that wants to work with me and everything else. Like it's a whole different stratosphere, right? I miss the days where I could just make a video and not care about the views.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because now everything's tied to your analytics and everything else. So I would feel like YouTube has always been a good release for me. But when people expect you to hit a home run, right? Like I did a dyno video the other day. I don't think it's at 4,000 views. If you had asked me last year a 4,000 viewed video, I'd be like, that's great. Now it's like, it only did 4,000, but you know what I mean? That's all perspective with the size and everything else. So and I think people, they gravitate to someone who they can relate with. And so I always tell my audience, especially on my live streams, I'm just a normal guy. Like I have the same feelings, thoughts. I get exhausted. I get writer's cramp. I don't know what to say. I kind of, like I said, like YouTube isn't my job, but I put 40, 50 hours a week into YouTube, whether it's companies or meetings or like the dealership did this big vet night thing. So I was their social media focal point. You know what I mean? So I don't think I've had a day off in, I don't know, 7 weeks, like since I left for Dallas for my mom's funeral.
Yeah.
Like
John, how about
nonstop.
Yeah, that balance is sometimes hard to get, right? It's easy to say, but
yeah,
and Jack, I know I can't wait to hear you talk about this because I know you were real in depth about this at one point. So, Colin, how about you?
Before we get into that, I just want to recognize a couple people that have jumped on after we called out some folks here. So, V Twin Live Podcast, welcome aboard, Professional Monkey. I know the V Twin Live Podcast, Bri, if I'm not mistaken, you guys are doing that with Baggers and Brews tonight at 8:00. So hopefully, it's a great show for you guys. Marine Rider, Professional Monkey, Mrs. Monkey, welcome aboard, guys. So a lot of people joined on after we kicked it off. DeBeard, welcome. So to answer your question, is this a common answer? I could have a crap day at work, man. It happens a lot. And no matter what I do, if I get on the bike, it totally centers me. It does. And I have to explain it to people like that don't ride. And I'm like, do you realize like the person, like I'm a different person after I come back from a ride. I'm like so much more relaxed. I'm like happy because like in a, you know, and Bob and Jack, you guys know what I do for a living. So I have a high stress job that makes me like come back to work and like focus, man. So it's like riding to me like centers it. It helps me when it's so hard to explain this to people get it. But like when you got so much shit going on in your life, it like getting on a bike just takes care of that. And it's the most amazing feeling ever. And even if it's like a 15, 20 mile ride, that's all it takes for me. And just that getting under that, hitting the throttle and just enjoying life. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Amen to that. Jack, how about you?
Yeah. And I think DV hit it on the head there. It's as your channel grows and as your buddies teach you about analytics, which some days I wish they never even showed me the YouTube app that you can put on your phone. You can track your views and, you know, and your subscribers, and you see you're getting a bigger subscriber count. You're getting more views. And you're right, DV. You put a video that's not a home run. You're like, and your home run is different than mine, right? Because it's based on size of your channel. So, you know, and I tell these new motive vloggers that live around me, you know, and it's based on theirs. But Bob and Colin knows at one time I got to the point it was so bad it put me in a hospital for a day. I almost had a heart attack. Over worried about I'm not getting the views. Oh my God. What's wrong with my video? What's wrong with my thumbnail? What's wrong? And riding becomes more of a job. And I have another channel that has, you know, 25,000 subscribers. And at one time I was making $600 or $700 a month on that channel. And I put a new video up today, but it might be once a month. And I pretty much just shut down on it because it became and it was about photography. My photography was becoming a very stressful job, not a hobby anymore. A buddy of mine I fish with all the time now, we should do fishing videos. And I said, that's my release, man. I get out on the boat. I don't want to film anything. That's my private time. And I don't need to bring anybody into that world. So, but yeah, you have to get out there. And I tell Bob a lot too. And I'm guilty of it, guys. I've done it so many times. And I'll come back from a 30-mile ride and my buddy will call and say, how many videos you do? And I said, 30 miles. I did 5. And I would have 5 full YouTube videos done in 30 miles because I'm a good bullshitter. But it's just not worth it some days. Just shut the cameras off and go out and enjoy them. Get back to riding. You know, if it's a business, it's a business. Do it as a business. Get yourself to set up an LLC and find something else to do as a hobby. Get away from the motorcycles for a while because that's your business. So that's kind of my take on it, Bob. And I'm very passionate about that too.
You know, there's a lot of content creators that are in here tonight, and it's interesting. Sometimes it's easy to say that. And Jack, you know, with 3 of us were texting today, and I talked about I was going for a ride with no gear, right? And I made an intro to a video a couple days ago that was me in the garage putting all my gear on and my, you know, my GoPro and everything, and it was what am I doing? Right? What am I doing? Am I losing the riding deal? Right? So then, and in my mind, I'm like, all right, I'm making a video. And then I'm like, all right, let me get on the bike. I'm like, maybe I'll just take my GoPro just in case. Right. And then it took me to consciously go, I'm not going to do that. I know there's a lot of folks, Bry, Pro Monkey, a lot of folks that just won't vlog because that's their time. Right. So I do want to do that because it's a big part of my channel. But I will tell you, you got to break that. And the ride I took today, which was roughly 100 miles with nothing, was probably the best ride I've had.
As I said, I bet you enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, you enjoy it
in a year. And Colin, you're right. You come home and the wife says, "Hey, how was your ride?" Do you ever go, "It was crappy"? No,
nope.
It doesn't seem to happen. So
unless you come home and you find your microphone was unplugged from your GoPro, then that was a crappy day.
Bob, Jack, I think I told you guys this in the beginning. I think I was more like 70% always had the camera on, and you know now I'm probably like 20%.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm riding, it's very you know, if I turn it on, I turn it on. But normally now I go out like you did today, Bob, just ride.
Yeah,
and that's totally.
Yeah, and especially if you haven't done it for a while, I'll tell you what, I will do it a ton more. I'm gonna come off it a little bit easy. Maybe I'll do it 50-50, but I'm telling you, I'm not going to take it all the time. That is
all right. I got to pitch my pants, so I'll be right back.
Anonymous Biker put a good thing in there. His routine is Saturday is for filming videos, and Sunday he just goes out and rides his bike. I think that's a good balance.
Yeah, Jack, I thought about that is taking especially when it's summer, is doing a 1 day make 2 videos, because that's normally what I put out. Make 2 videos. Trying not to do all moto vlogs, but make 2 videos, and then the other time is kind of the ride time.
Right.
We'll see if that works or
especially
not.
Especially when you're out with your spouse. I know, Bob, you go a lot for ice cream runs or dinner runs, or just go out and don't dual vlog with her. Just talk to each other. You'll be shocked at what you'll find out about your wife on the motorcycle. We talked for 400 miles without any radio on, and it's like we just met. It's crazy.
Hey, HDR, you and I are what, 5, 6 years older than Colin, yet he's already had to go to the bathroom. We're only 32 minutes in. Just saying.
That's because he drank 4 beers and came home from work.
Yep.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, DV, back to you, man. What's your take on today's rider compared to maybe when you first started riding? And what kind of bike trends do you see? I know you've been doing a lot of videos on performance baggers, but it's kind of a dual question. What's your thoughts on what kind of riders out there today, and where do you see the trends going?
So, growing up in Texas, I would see the dominant club right down the road, right, in the support clubs, and bikes were like Dynas and very much FXR, right, and then baggers started to be cool, you had the big wheel baggers, the stretch baggers, and then now we're getting into performance builds, right, which I've always kind of built my baggers to be kind of like my extension of my Dyna, right? Like I've always owned a Dyna and a bagger.
Thank you.
And so the trends I'm starting to see, and even Harley Davidson's going down that route with the sport touring line, right? So they're listening to the consumer. Now, I'm probably younger than the 3 of you guys. I'll be 41 this year, and so I just see more of my age group, I guess, because we grew up around sport bikes. And so we're wanting to have that speed now. So, that's the trends I'm seeing. Honestly, that's what Vader is. Vader is a warranty performance build. We're going to have Kraus moto bars, floorboards, and the old school guys are going to hate on me. But that's what people are building. That's the content they want to see, So that's how the channel is going to follow. So,
yeah.
I think T-bars in the road glide are cool.
Yeah. Colin, a quick question before you go to this one, because I know
everyone's busted my balls because I freaking took a leak.
Yeah, and instead of the you're not going out with your wife on your, some people are wondering why you can't make it more than a few minutes.
What did I last 30 minutes?
Yeah.
That's all right.
But baggers and brews are on for like 17 hours, dude, and they only get up once or twice.
A marathon, man. He's probably got a freaking thing, a catheter or something.
Adult
bikers. By the way, we should talk about this if we get time, right? Because I think there's I know at least Professional Monkey's getting ready to blow it up, and I've thought about it. So, Colin, back to.
Can I respond to one thing? I just saw they said warranties are overrated. Here's the thing, right? So, I make my content. A lot of veterans watch my content. They're on fixed incomes, right? They're VA, Social Security, disability, so they don't have they don't want to watch one of their peer group make a bike that they can never touch, right? Okay. So I like I said, like I built my channel about avoiding warranties for 3 years. I've literally my whole life I built crazy performance. So when I see like larger channels like shitting on the notion that warranties are overrated, like I think that type of attitude loses sight with the average consumer who buys a motorcycle, saves up all their money, right? And takes out that $30,000 loan. They're not trying to screw that up. And so, no offense, I don't really know I know he's a large channel. I'm not trying to dime him out, but to shit on a segment of the audience that says, no, I want to keep my warranty is not warranted. That's all I want to say.
I don't know if I don't know if that's the thought, right? I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, it's an individual decision what you want to do with the warranty on your bike, right? So if you want to go, hey, I'm going to go put a tuner on my 2021 that's not from Harley. Hey, man, at the end of the day, that's my call, right? So it may not be the thing that I think I should do, but I'll tell you what, I think about it all the time, right? So I think it's up to the individual, but I get your comment. That's for sure. No
I
doubt.
think the warranty thing though too is like DV was saying. So when I bought my bike, I bought a 7-year warranty because I'm not a mechanic and I don't portray that, right? So I'm not going to tear the engine down. If something happens, I want it covered. Same with our cars.
Yeah.
But if you want to buy a motorcycle, guys, and you want to just say, well, I'll piss on that warranty, don't buy a warranty with it. You get 2 years. And if you don't care, just tear your bike apart, man. It's your motorcycle, you know?
Yeah, and you're right. There's, by the way, there's nothing straight that comes out of Pro Monkey's mouth. It's just usually funny shit because he's hilarious. But you're definitely right. I will tell you, as somebody that traded an 18 Ultra in, that put a third-party tuner on it, and now I have a 2021 where I feel like I'm a little stuck, right? And hey, that's fine. I think Harley makes some good stuff too. Would I rather do some aftermarket stuff? Yeah. Am I going to do it to avoid my warranty? Nah, I probably won't. But I also don't have the skills on the bike that a lot of people do from a mechanic perspective. So, but getting back to Colin, rider and trends. What's your thought? I know that you ride two different type of bikes now, right? So, do you think that's where we're going?
No, I mean, for those of you who don't know, I have an ADV bike now, so I bought the Pan America. So, but that was my decision. I've always wanted to get into ADV riding. I don't think it's a trend. I think you'll get people that say that the people that are buying those bikes are Harley guys that want a second bike, and I don't know. I've always dug that style of riding, so I wanted to try something different. And I'll be honest with you, I absolutely love that bike, and a lot of people don't get it and understand it, but it's a phenomenal bike and it's fun as hell. I'll tell you that. I don't know if there's a trend per se. I mean, I honestly don't put a lot of thought into trends. I just do what's right for me. I take it and say, listen, man, do I enjoy riding this type of ride? Then that's cool. I enjoy, and we joke around with this a lot. A lot of people bust my balls because I'm not going to the Road Glide Nation yet, that I'm stuck on the Street Glide. I love my Street Glide. It's a phenomenal bike, right? Eventually, I probably will go to a road glide. I know it's a better bike or better on the road. I know that, but I enjoy the look. Get that shit off right now.
I'm sorry, you just said you were going to go to a road glide now.
Eventually,
sure that's what you were saying.
Not quite, but it's funny. Bri even asked that earlier, like, "When do you get your road glide?" I get asked that all the time. I like the road glide. I do. I really, it's a cool bike. It's just something that. Right now, I'm happy with what I have. So I don't know if there's really a trend. I mean, it's subjective. I mean, I think there's trends out there. I mean, obviously Harley with the STs came out and they're doing the performance baggers, but it's been around for a couple of years, right? I mean, Everybody enjoys what they want, and is my take. Not everyone's going to get out and buy an ADB bike, but that's what I want to do, right? And I'm happy as hell I did that. I don't have to follow a trend. I don't have to listen to people. It's something that when I get on a bike, it's what I want. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can we stop for a minute just to answer Robin's question? Yes. Okay.
What was the question? I missed it. So is it bad that I'm looking at a Honda? No.
I'm just kidding. You should buy whatever you want, right?
Okay.
So
whatever you want.
Especially because she's like in Australia and her bikes are like on some cargo.
Yeah. Did you see she couldn't get her bike on the road yet because they have to put the handlebars on the opposite side? Because you have to drive on the opposite side.
She did a cool little video about riding on the other side of the road, dude. I'd kill myself. I wouldn't be able to do that. So, all right, moving on. Anybody? I did a video about a year ago of Ty from Tennessee, who's a good friend of the channel and all of us, right? Where he was in an accident with his wife, and Ty, we should do a follow up on that, by the way. But Ty's back riding, his wife doesn't. And everybody reacts a little bit differently to either an accident or a close call, and just wondered what people in the audience think, or people that are in the chat. And DV, how about you? Have you had a close call, and how's that impacted you or not?
I mean, I bounced back pretty quick. my wife had we owned a slingshot, Blair slingshot. So I've gotten into a few accidents, but when you're trying to do wheelies and endos and going down the strip, like it happens. So the closest call where it made me concerned is when my wife got into an accident. She took the slingshot and it hydroplaned, and it slung her into a concrete divide. And this whole left side of her showy was all rubbed off because it just rubbed.
Oh, no.
And so that kind of screwed with me. I mean, my wife, she did fine. I mean, she never went back. I mean, obviously it totaled it, but it made me think more about when I'm with her, to be cautious that she's on the back. So I kind of started slowing down when she's with me. So I look like that typical Harley rider just putting along. But no, I think if you've ridden a bike for any amount of time, every one of us have gotten into some type of accident. So.
Okay. So
Sorry. Sorry, man. Jack threw me off with that. Jack number 2. So
Jack, what's your thoughts on rider and bike trends?
He didn't ask me.
I have no answer.
Good. That's what I thought. So I moved on.
Keep going.
Colin, how about you, man? Any close calls?
I've had a couple. Not enough to like scare me off, kind of like what Ty did. If I'm that type of guy, like my neighbor lives right next to me. He's been riding for 20 years. Him and his wife were riding only 5 miles from home, and he got in a wreck and he broke like 4 or 5 ribs. And his wife shattered her ankles. He hasn't been on the bike since. And his wife, they actually sold their bikes because and that's somebody that's been riding for a while. Whereas I look at it, and I say this now because I've never actually been in a wreck. And I know, Ty, if you're still on here, you get it because you were in one. It changes your perspective. I have this feeling if it were to happen to me, I would want to get back on. I would want to get back on the bike as soon as possible. I don't know if that would happen because it hasn't happened to me. Yes, I've had close calls. I've almost, gotten a wreck, but I just shook it off and went on, right? I guess my take is if you were to get in a wreck and would you sit here and contemplate and that friends that you've talked to, because like I said, my neighbors stopped riding. I don't know if I would, because to me, I would get back on and I would say, I'm going to accept this that happened, but I'm not going to let it win. I'm not going to let something that puts me, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm trying to look at it as a goal for me and a challenge for me. If that were to happen, I'd get right back on. Not everyone's going to feel that way. So that's my take on it.
And it could take time, right?
And it could take definitely time. I mean, I respect everybody's decision, what they have. Everyone's going to be different, man. But I've got to look, I'm not going to let something dictate to my life and something that I enjoy so much because of an accident.
Yeah. Ty hits it right until it happens to you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know that. I could say it now, Ty, and say, dude, I'll be fine. I'll get back on the bike. But I don't know that. That's my goal in life is like, if this were to happen, it's a risky endeavor we do every day by riding these things. But that's part of it, right?
I remember it's probably been a year or so ago, maybe 2 years since I met Jackie Boy and we started talking. And I remember talking to him about, I don't know, I was doing some sort of vlog about, getting in an accident or thinking about an accident. And one of the things he said to me that kind of hit me, he's like, I never, ever think that I'm going to be in an accident, right? Just from a mentality standpoint. And I thought that was pretty good, right? And I think over time that I have gotten there too, even though, we're cautious at the right times we need to. So how about you, Jack?
The closest call I ever had was I was going to work one morning and I was on a 2-lane road. Somebody stopped to take a sudden turn. And the only thing I seen on the side of my helmet, on the side of my peripheral vision, was I heard a big screeching sound. And it was a triaxle dump truck that went into the other lane and went around. He wasn't paying attention. He would have smashed me between him and another tractor trailer truck. I mean, I would have been dead that day. And I came home and it was really funny because I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell Miss HR about it, but it scared me. I parked the bike for a month and I wouldn't ride. And I can remember Rogueline and Andy calling me and be like, "Oh man, come on, you got that nice bike, come on, ride us." And I couldn't tell him why. I couldn't relate that information of like it scared the living shit out of me. I would have been dead. And so you guys talk about riding, and if you wreck, would you get back on the bike? Yeah, I want to believe that. But if I'm riding and lose both of my legs, or if I break my back and I'm paralyzed, or, you don't know what's going to happen. And I appreciate Jackie Boy saying, and I think that's awesome. Guys, I go out there some days in a t-shirt and a half helmet, and I'm not going to wrap myself in bubble wrap because I don't think I'm going to wreck every day I go on the bike. I don't want to believe that, because if you do believe that, you're not going to be in this riding hobby. You're just going to jump in the car and be a little safer. So,
Bob,
I was a paramedic for years, guys. People die in car wrecks every day too. So the car's not a safe thing either. Maybe just stay in your house and don't go anywhere.
I think you highlighted this earlier, Bob. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what Ty said, if it's one of those things that you never know until it happens to you.
Yeah. You don't.
I mean, that's true. You don't. I mean, we could all talk about what we're gonna do, but we don't know, right?
You don't.
I just have a mentality where, and I think a lot of us do, is like we're gonna just push through it, and because I'm not gonna let something that bad happens. Again, this is my opinion, dictate to me my life, and that's just me.
And you take that back a little bit. My dad was shot 3 times while hunting. The first 2 times he came home and he continued to hunt because he loved it. The third time he got shot, he about lost one of his legs. And I remember when he came home from the hospital, he took every single gun we had. We had tons of guns in the house, and he sold everything. He said, "I am done." He said the 4th time it would be a final time. So that just shows you people do have a they do come back from it. And if you love doing it, I get it. But sometimes there is a breaking point.
Yeah. You know what, I always like to say I've never had any real close calls until last year. I just flat out took a turn really quick, right? Just took it wide. And, that happens sometimes, right? Maybe you get too close to the center line that you're going, man, I got to stay sharper, right? But I really took a 35 at 60. And I remember and I was filming at the time, right? So I don't know how focused I was, but I remember while I was on the other side of the road looking at a car on me going, I'm either going straight into that field or I'm going to be able to correct. And I was fortunately able to correct, but I will tell you what, I watched that clip multiple times. As a matter of fact, I have it on my desktop just sometimes to go in and remind myself of, you got to stay sharp, right? It's got to stay sharp, and you can't be someplace else. So, all right, guys. Hey, a couple more quick questions, but I wanted to stop real quick if I could. Bri the Biker put out a video this morning. I don't know if everybody's seen it yet, but it's really about people that are moto vloggers helping each other. Not about go to this guy's channel or this gal's channel and sub, but from a support perspective of us helping each other. And if you get a second, just go take a peek at that today. It is a talking video, but I think it's kind of important. I know there's some Facebook pages going on that Toby is a big part of. Toby, if you want to put that information in the chat, I'll show that before the end of the show. But just wanted to mention his video because it kind of hit home a little bit today.
Yeah, Bob, that's and Toby will probably put it up, but it's a big it's a Facebook page created by the Badgers.
Yep.
Called Support Bikers Content Creators. It's actually a great resource for a lot of up and coming moto vloggers that can get some ideas on how to do certain things.
Yeah. And you know what? It's not all about the subs. It's not all about the views. It's about the community, but we help each other, right? Jack, we always joke, Jack and I rode for the first time. I had 9 subs, right? I'd like to say there's probably 2 or 3 people maybe that I've helped. I know there's a lot of people that have helped me, right? So I just think it's kind of our way to give back a little bit. So I'm off my soapbox about that, but check out Bri's video if you don't mind. And this is the one I love. And Colin, you and I talked about this the other day. What is the happiest time when you're riding? It doesn't have to be a road. It doesn't have to be, you're on a trip. It doesn't have to be you're on a certain bike. Is there a time that you were riding that you can remember that just says, man, this is freaking incredible? Do you got just one? DV, how about you?
When I was stationed in Puerto Rico. I mean, it's 100 by 30 square mile island. And so that's back when my wife and I were dating. So she worked on the west side of the island in recruiting, and I worked at Fort Buchanan underneath the 448 Engineer Battalion. And it was every day you got to see, like, you know, I grew up in a small town in Texas, right? Like, you know, after my dad retired, we moved to a small town, and I got to see palm trees and beaches, and just it was fantastic. So if I was to take all the years I rode living in Puerto Rico, be able to ride up in the mountains and along the beach, no better feeling for someone like me. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Colin, how about you?
I think there's two. I think I think it's because I've never been there before I'd done this ride, but a lot of people don't say they love highway riding, but I'm much rather ride country roads, right? But there's a road out in Vermont. And when we went to upstate, like Northeast Massachusetts, New York, and Lake Placid area, we rode, I believe it was Interstate 81 or 83. I can't remember exactly. And it's surrounded by mountains. So like Vermont, if you guys ever rode Vermont, phenomenal area to ride in for sure. But we were riding with like a group of 7 or 8 guys. Actually, a lot of them were from YouTube. And I think this was 2018. And we were all going down this highway. And then what's cool about Vermont and like these highways, like I live near DC now, and there's always shitload of people on the roads. You know, I know you guys and Bob, you're going to get it probably outside of Detroit. Jack, you're going to get it outside Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Those type things where it's crowded. Vermont, there's nobody on the road. I think I counted like 20 cars. And we were all clipping down this road. It's like a downhill road we were going like 90 miles an hour, just enjoying life. And that was probably one of my favorite rides. And it was just a straight highway. It was amazing. And probably the second time was and for those of you who don't know this, my wife's not a big rider. Okay. So it took a long time to get her actually on the bike. And so probably the best time, and Jack and Bob got to experience this, that she went with me on my first ride. Was it last year, guys? Where she rode with me. And that was probably the most awesome time, having my wife on the back of the bike. But more importantly, she was scared as shit to get on the bike. But once she got on, she was having such a great time. It was so amazing having her on the bike. Now, she wouldn't shut up, but the good news is she just enjoyed the hell out of it, and just having her with me was amazing.
Isn't it cool to see so many people talk about it was whether riding with their son, it was they're riding with their wife the first time, or they're riding with their dad, right? I mean, that's pretty cool stuff there for sure. Jack, how about you?
It's probably riding with my best 2 buddies, and we had Be the Rider PA with us, and we were in the mountains, and it was actually probably anytime I go on a trip with Mrs. HDR, and like I told you guys a little bit earlier, and that's true, we'll go 400-mile a day, never turn the radio on, and we'll talk constantly about really nothing, but it's like we just met. And those kind of experiences on a motorcycle were just, amazing. And it's endless that you can have that kind of stuff. And I seen somebody put on there, like, I guess, best ride ever was Needles Highway. And I think that was an awesome time. We went out west of Sturgis, and just getting to see that, and seeing the, what am I thinking about? Mount Rushmore, and having that in the background there from Needles Highways. Pretty amazing time. So,
and I've never done that, but I would love to ride that area.
It would be an absolute, it's amazing. Like the 1-lane tunnels you have to go through. It's just an amazing time out there. But really, guys, anytime I get on the bike and can get out and ride, I mean, it's probably my happy time. So that's
having great company though makes a world of difference, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Like we could ride, guys. You and I, the 3 of us could ride in, horrible roads, but we'd enjoy it because we wouldn't shut up with each other.
And it's a good thing we have battery packs on our Sennas, because we definitely wear them out.
Yeah, no kidding. For me, it was 2. Colin, you and I talked about this the other day. Is Jack, when we met to ride the triple nickel in Ohio?
Yeah.
I think it was last year. and everybody knows that I'm a Michigan boy, so I don't, if you're from here, you don't like Ohio State, but I did drive through Ohio, and there was a period where there was like no traffic. I was doing 80 on the interstate. I knew I was riding to 3 days with a buddy. There was something about that one ride, just listening to music in the headset, that I went, man, this is pretty cool. Maybe it was the first longer ride in a while. Maybe that's what did it for me. But I think probably the best was when the three of us were on vacation with the wives and we rode the Smokies. That was, up in the fog and all that stuff. That was probably the funnest ride that I'll remember for sure, other than you guys.
And I think you guys that day turned on your heated grips, if I'm not mistaken. I think you said something about heated grips.
Yeah, well, the temperature did change like about 30 degrees, right?
It really got cold up there.
Yeah. No, that's great. And it's, I think Dad and Matt talked about, him riding with his daughter, right? It's the same thing. That's kind of cool to hear. So Jack, hey man, you first of all, again, thank you again for your service, but tell us about some upcoming plans that you have, man, for your channel. Where are you taking it? And I know you're giving back, but what's the next month or two look like for you?
Man, definitely handlebar upgrades, just stuff around Project Vader. I'm gonna make a couple of videos kind of talking about why I ride and different charities we work with and everything else. And like you said, I mean, sometimes it's just about making content that's yours, like not attached to anything motorcycle related, is for your audience, right? And so just getting the word out there of what we do here on Determined Veteran. And I do appreciate the opportunity to come on to the Fireside Chat tonight and chat with you guys and see everybody out in the audience. So it was very cool. Thank you very much.
You bet. And definitely check out his channel. Obviously thankful for his service, but he's got a great channel and a good guy. And that's kind of what we all are. I like to think, and all of our friends here in the chat. So
for sure.
Any parting words, Colin, or
no, DB, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. And now I got two friends in Pennsylvania that are on here right now. I got one in West Side and I got one on the East Side, right? Is that how it works? And then there's some dude in Michigan. We'll talk about him later. But no, thank you very much, guys, for coming on. And as always, guys, we appreciate everybody in the side chat. And we'll see you in a couple weeks, right? Or is it next week? Is it next week we're doing it, or the week after? Next week's Easter. No, we're not doing it on Easter, so we're doing it the week after.
Yeah, very, very cool. HDR, how about you? Godfather of vlogging.
Same for me, DV. From one soldier to another soldier, man. Thank you for your service. I truly appreciate it. And it's awesome that you're helping our brothers out there with the veterans, man. I always said there's two words that should never go together. It's homeless and veteran. I think this government shits on our veterans so bad. And that could be a topic I can call you about one day. We could talk about that for days. And it's true.
I've got a video that did 300,000 clicks about how the VA shit on veterans.
And they do. And my daughter, actually, we have a daughter now that works for the VA, and she tells us about the red tape. It should be, hey, my belly hurts, take care of me. I serve this country. But once you serve and they kick you out one way or the other, you're goodbye. You're yesterday's news, and that's just the way they treat you. It's sad. It is sad, guys. And remember, they're fighting for your freedom, man. That's what it's all about. But thanks to everybody again in the side chat. We do appreciate you being in here each and every week. It's you guys that make us guys rock along. So thanks, Bob, for hosting, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Hey, DV, we appreciate your service again, man. What you've been doing, it's really cool to get to know you a little bit. And
excellent.
And welcome to our crazy little group. And we look forward to more. Check out his channel, everybody. Thanks for stopping in tonight. Be safe. Check on a friend, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night. God bless.